お帰りなさいませ.
Bro, what was this episode of Demon Slayer, bro? What was this? This stuff was fire. Bro, literally, this is literally fire. Tanjiro's family today taking all the W's. Okay, so Tanjiro's still fighting Daki. We show up back at the place they were at before. He almost cuts her neck, and then she's pissed about it. Like, she's pissed that he would even try. It wasn't like one of those moments where like, oh my gosh, he almost got me. It was one of those moments like, man, I cannot believe you are making me do this much on a Tuesday. So she just like, she starts slashing at him a bit more aggressively. Now she's going in for the kill. Tanjiro's having a backstep, and he's figuring out what he needs to do in this fight. But then the scarf she has come flying out of the ground, the ones that were over with Tengen, and they fly over to Daki like instantaneously, and then they shove into her neck, and when they shove into her neck, she like goes to like a pause moment, like Majin Buu absorbing somebody again, and then she's like, oh freak, there's a Hashira, and she's completely forgotten about Tanjiro now. She knocks him away, I think, and then she like hops back on like a roof, and she's like, Hashira, yes, Lord Muzan's gonna be so proud. I freaking got him, yes. And then her hair starts to go gray and green, and now she's kind of like, she's going like a little crazy with her power. Like she's kind of insane. Not like super haha insane, just a little bit. Either way, I will say this, I like dark hair Daki more than I like gray hair Daki, so that's just rules. I'm just saying that now. So Tanjiro's standing there, but all their commotion woke everybody up, and you would think Daki, who kind of has a thing going on in this town, wouldn't be so quick to act, but she is farther away from the main street, so probably doesn't care. And this guy comes out, and he's like, hey, you boy with the katana, this is a great town, and we won't have your kind over here bringing over your katanas and making a mess out of things. And he's like, sir, this is not what, no, I don't want to hear it. I heard what those katanas can do to a person. That's illegal. You get out of my town. And right when he's doing all that, that was me making up words for him. And right when he does all that, Daki's like, man, can you shut up? Ugly things just shouldn't have a reason to talk. And when I tell you, I was blown away by this part, I cannot explain to you. She grabs her things, the little scarves, and rips through like the whole street. She kills so many random people. It's ridiculous. She thinks she's just like, she's done with this town now. She's blown her cover. Last Hashira she needs, she's good. Because she went through almost everyone in that town. Tanjiro has a big cut in his arm. The guy behind him, I think, has his arm cut, and Tanjiro tells him to like wrap it up. People are screaming. They're talking about, they're like, oh, wake up, wake up. She cut through the house, so some people just got slashed up while like standing there. And we're now seeing some real evil crap. Like, it's one thing to have a one-on-one fight like the dude with Ringoku on the train. Like, they were threatening everybody's lives, but they weren't successful at doing so. This is like the first time I feel like we've really seen a demon cause terror. So good on Daki. She just made her little point there. And like, she's like, my first thing was like, she is way too strong for Tanjiro to be fighting right now. She just killed so many people in all caps. And she says the repulsive have no reason to live. And then we get one of the best scenes out of this episode, which is Tanjiro's rage, right? So here's a really fun thing about Tanjiro as a character that I really enjoy. He has generic shonen protagonist goon. All protagonists of shonen are like the, I can't believe you did this thing. But what I like about Tanjiro's, unlike like Goku is implied to be very kind. He's a kind person all the time, but we never see him like go home and struggle with the anger he feels, because everything's usually all right in the end, right? We see it a little bit with characters like Midoriya in My Hero, where he might question himself a bit, but even him, he can kind of go back to, this is great, I'm fine. Tanjiro feels like he is constantly fighting this bit of anger in himself towards himself and towards things he tries to forgive. Tanjiro is a very forgiving person, but it does not take away the amount of guilt and frustration he has, and it's in parts of his writing almost all the time. That's the part that's really good, is that it's always underlying. Like when he goes to see Ringoku's dad, who's also a part of this episode today, which is going to be the other tie-in. When he first goes to see Ringoku's dad, and Ringoku's dad is yelling at him, he's like, do you not know how I feel that I let him down? And it doesn't feel like something that's just shown up. He was angry. He threw his freaking sword at the guy and was screaming in anger because he just wanted that fight to avenge his friend. It feels so organic in regards to a lot of shonen protagonists just show up when their friends get really beat up, and then he's like, I'll never forgive you for this. This man has been struggling with this anger since, I think, early episodes of him just starting to be a demon slayer. I think even with the episodes with that guy who could phase portals into the ground, the demon who can do that, I think even then he was really struggling with this, and I love that fact in his writing. But speaking of Ringoku's dad actually apologizes. He writes him letters, it seems. It seems he wrote Tanjiro a letter because his son was writing letters, and he just called himself a fool. He finally praised his son, and as much as I was getting on him the last episode and said I could never forgive him, this is good steps, and I'm very happy to see this. He should have did it earlier, but again, I can understand him losing his wife, causing him to go into depression. I mean, everybody wants to dream that they'll get married to somebody and that they might raise a family. Well, not everybody, but you get the point. And their family will be able to get old together. You'll see your sons get old, and then, you see your sons get older as you get old, and you live a happy life with the person you really enjoy. So to have your significant other die, and then you feel like, I don't know if he feels like he's responsible for it too. That's a whole nother thing. I don't remember if I saw anything on that. But he even gives Ringoku his credit that he learned his flame technique stuff from 3 books, and then probably some books his mother had. So that was also cool to see that his mother was involved, and it was also the first time we saw her face. And she had like red eyes. I don't remember if he has like red eyes. I don't remember if that's like if they have her trait on that one, which was nice. I like those little touches in making your characters. But yeah, no. So that was really nice. It was cool to see. And he also brings up this special fact about people with the sun thing, right? That they have a scar in their head. However, Tanjiro, as he's like remembering Rengoku's father's letter, he's like, no, the scar wasn't something that I was born with. It was something that I got from protecting my brother. My father, however, he supposedly had a scar, like, as he's thinking. And then, like, he's like contemplating to himself. He's basically fighting himself to the point where he kind of breaks to a little bit. His eyes start to bleed, and they're starting rolling down blood, and he is angry. She gets ready to like leave to go to the Hashira. Like she's really far away. Like, let me tell you this, she is very far away. She goes getting ready to pose and run, and then he just teleports basically where she is, grabs her foot, and has his sword coming off the side. Bro, this animation in this episode was so cool. So he swings at her. She dodges out of the way and blocks for herself. But now she's like, what? Excuse me? Excuse me? And as he's asking her questions, like he's asking her the obvious questions, I did write that. He's asking her the obvious. I didn't go break down. How could you kill people? Weren't you human once? Don't you feel anything? Blah, 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 blah. And I will say, I think these questions are a little dumb for a demon at this point. Now, some demons do actually feel this way. So, the question that you might want to ask, I want to ask you guys in the comments. Do you think demons have any control of their actions? Or do you feel like they are completely to some degree controlled by their instinct to do evil in a sense? Also, do you think demons closer to Muzan have less self-control than demons that are farther away from him? Just because I would bring up the fact that if I was that close to Muzan, I think probably his influence would take over. And as we can see here, this isn't about his influence, it's just me, that was me headcanon. But we see that Muzan's cells have memories of Tanjiro's father. So we're getting a bit shonen protagonist right now, but it's good. I freaking love it. And Tanjiro's father is basically asking the exact same wording that Tanjiro is saying, and it's making Daki almost to a point shake in some parts of their fight. And we can almost see that maybe Tanjiro's father was the reason why Muzan. So I wrote this way. Oh, no wonder he went after his family after he died. Maybe Muzan has a grudge because Tanjiro's dad is the only one who almost gave him a real fight, or possibly almost took his life, or whatever else. And so the moment that Tanjiro's dad died, he went after him like a hitman. I mean, he's already dressed up like a gangster. And biggest insult to injury, he turned one of his kids into a demon, and then killed all the rest of them. He just didn't know he had a son left. It's also interesting, he didn't just kill Tanjiro immediately after that scar on his forehead, but who knows, plot holes, or there might be a reason for it. We'll see. Anyway, so Tanjiro's kicking her butt now. Let's just put it as. He threw out the whole We also have Tengen on the way now because he threw the boys up in the air after the girls said to go, which is funny. I thought that was a funny moment. But Daki's starting to panic, and we're in her head now as she is technically dealing with her monster, which is Tanjiro. Tanjiro is like cutting her ropes in half. Tanjiro is too quick. She thinks she has him in like this bladed thing, like, oh, they're gonna land on you and you're gonna die. And it almost mirrors episode 19, except Tanjiro was pissed this time, and he just lifts his blade up and cuts like right through all of them, and then he's right at her neck. And I think he like cuts her neck at one point. Like he cuts towards her head, but then she has like a trick to, you know, not get her head cut off, which I would assume every demon would at this point if you get to this high of a level. And Tanjiro, like at one point she's like, yes, and now I have you, because she like throws all her things at him, and he's like, if I dodge, the whole town dies, but I don't have any reason to dodge. Like, why is she suddenly so much slower? And so he's using the sun technique this entire time. He blocks all of her scarves to one area so he can put his sword in it and block it. And at this point, I thought he was just gonna dash up and punch her, because at this point he's pissed, so I don't know what he's gonna do. But as he has all her scarves down, she's like, there's no way you can reach me from this distance. He lifts it up and he cuts all of the pieces of it and then gets right up to her neck. But he is reminded of his siblings, and I think it might, I don't know if it's his little sister or if it's Nezuko, or one of his other little sisters, or Nezuko, but she's like, you need to breathe, and he finally breathes, but it also turns off his powers. I think his powers were turning off anyways. I think he was like dying because he's holding his breath for so long, and he like collapses, and then she's just like Daki's just in shock, like she almost died. And she is like, you know what? For all of that, I'm gonna take your head off, right? She's like, that was awful, you ugly piece of trash, or whatever else. You know, she's talking her crap. Tanjiro is now having to contemplate the fact that, you know, he overexhausted himself. Everything is getting dark. And right before she's about to take off his head, boom! Her head goes splat, and her body starts tumbling and rolling across the roof, and just like she's on the ground, and you hear like her like, damn man, like you. And it's Nezuko. Nezuko hears with the super save, and she's pissed. It is a crazy reunion of anger and violence. So now Nezuko is like angry. What's her face is like, man, I'm gonna kill you. You're the one that Muzan was talking about. And like, I hate watching the demon's head regrow because those little veiny things that come off their neck. Oh my gosh. I'm all looking at everybody else is all down bad for Daki, but whenever I see that, I'm just like, oh. Anyways, we get a little flashback where Muzan is like, hey, if you see this demon girl, I need you to kill her. Like, I know you can do it. Like, I need you to kill her. And I also wrote, Daki is down bad. It was funny when Daki's like has her knees in the ground with like her head in his lap, and he's just like petting her. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this man has you wrapped around his whole little finger. Anyways, so Daki is now fighting Nezuko, and I wrote Nezuko's durability needs work, because she jumps to kick her again, and then she just slashes through her. And then Nezuko's also hit into a building, and then she's like, yeah, you little pathetic demon, you're only like a half demon, so it's not even like you're a half developed demon, so it's not like it matters, okay? I'll absorb you, and then I'll put you out in the sun later, alright? I need to go deal with that Hashira. And then Nezuko gets up. All her limbs and stuff flew up in the air, but now she got up, which means she regenerated like stupid quick. And as Daki said, she regenerates like a high or an upper level demon. And then we get, I wrote, what the heck is happening to Nezuko? I'm just gonna say this. What happened to Nezuko? She grew up. She gets taller. She gets a bit buffer. She gets another thing, but I'm not gonna talk about it because it's Nezuko. But she now has a horn in her head. She now has like the marks across her body now. They're like little leaves or whatever else. And she's on a different tier level. So Nezuko with the power jump. At first, Daki slashes her again as she goes over to her, and then you just see Nezuko's foot come from over her head through her body and pushing Daki in the ground. At this point, I almost feel bad for Daki. It looks like we're about to get to some second form cell beatdown, because Nezuko's pissed. Nezuko is not happy. Nezuko is not. I wrote, Jesus, Nezuko, screw the boys. We don't need the. You remember last episode? I was like, man, the boys. Ooh, the boys. Nah, the girls. The girls. Because these girls are about to have a Royal Rumble. Oh my gosh, dude. What is this Nezuko power up? What do you think happened to Nezuko? If you know the manga and stuff, don't say anything. You shut the freak up. But if you're anime only like me, what the freak happened to Nezuko? Did she get more of Muzan's blood because he killed her directly? It was what I'm assuming. I'm assuming he went straight to Tanjiro's father's house now, paid them a visit, killed all of them, and like as savagely as he could, which is the reason why the house looked as jacked up as it did. He was probably very vicious about it. That's probably the reason why like half of Tanjiro's siblings looked like they were like trying to crawl away or they're outside. But that also means Nezuko got direct contact with the strongest demon, and it seems her blood or body could handle it. Also, she bit through her mouth thing, so I don't know if that's gonna be bad later, or if Tanjiro has another one. She seems to be in decent control. Like, she seemed to be pissed that all those people died. And because you remember Nezuko's job is like protect humans, so she's also at like I also forgot about that. I didn't remember that literally till right now. That's kind of funny. But her job is to protect humans, so maybe that's also like tripling the amount of anger she would already have because it's her brother, and then all those dead people she just killed. Oh my gosh, dude, this episode was amazing. And then we just get a little joke of like, how can Zenitsu run while he's sleeping? But like, Jesus, man. Oh my gosh. This episode, and then the animation for this episode too, when I say he cut all those scarves, they animated that whole moment so smoothly. I don't even think they used 3D animation for her scarves at that moment. I think they just animated that. Oh my gosh, is this episode amazing. Had they had some banger insert song, this would have been the episode, bro. This would have been the episode. I don't even know what they're gonna do later. Cause we just got Nezuko being in the fight. I hope Nezuko actually gets a fight. I hope she doesn't get that like half fight thing. I hope this is a good episode of her fighting, and then we can get into everybody being here and then Hashira fight and stuff. But I'm way more interested in seeing what Nezuko can do right now. Like way more. Crazy. And Tanjiro, if he goes back into rage mode. Bro, this is so cool. All right, guys, Baka Brigade. I'll catch you later. This video is already like 17 minutes long. Peace out. Bye.